Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm the Geeky Ballerina, and today we're going to talk about a really subtle element of acting and artistry, and that is how you position your head. I love ballet because there are a million details and everything weaves together super well, but wow, there's a lot. The good news is that we will never be done learning. Let's talk about your head. It's basically the difference between a turn and a tilt, although you rarely would do them that large. In broad strokes, generally speaking, masculine characters are more likely to turn and feminine characters are more likely to tilt. And this is because, the feminist in me is dying, but here we go. This is because the turn is seen as more direct communication and the tilt is interpreted as historically more coy or shy or demure, less direct. I don't love the narrative that perpetuates, but since a lot of the ballets you perform and learn variations from are historical, you need to know that that's where that's coming from. But even within a gender, you can play with the tilt versus turn a little bit. For example, children tend to turn their head more. Children are direct. Have you ever had a 4-year-old tell you exactly what they thought of you? I love when that happens. I find it hilarious. Children are direct. So if you are playing a child, like if you are an adult playing Clara, or if you are playing a very innocent childlike character, you'll use more turns. It would be more appropriate to turn because they are direct, because they don't have ulterior motives, because they believe what they are told. The turn versus the tilt also can demonstrate like a class difference. So for example, in Giselle, when Bethild arrives and the whole hunting procession arrives, the villagers are not gonna look directly at them because that would be socially inappropriate. So there's gonna be a tilt. It's probably not gonna be a tilt up. It might be a tilt down just a little bit. But it's less likely that villagers would look like directly at nobility. Contrast that with when you are in the group scene in, for example, the ball in Cinderella. Everybody at the ball is basically on even footing. They've all been invited. They're all nobility. And so in that instance, you would be more likely to directly turn your head to look at Cinderella as she enters, or the prince, or whomever. Basically, are you balancing a crown on your head? If you're balancing a crown on your head, if your character would have a crown, you need to turn directly. If your character does not have a crown on, you can do more of the tilt when you are using the turn/tilt to talk about class distinction. And then there is the more obvious character motivation. A great example of this is Odette Odile in Swan Lake. Odette is shy, she is mistrustful. So there's a lot of tilting in that choreography. Odile is very confident. So that variation has a lot of head turning. That's a great, the pairing of those two variations are a great way to teach your students and let them experience the difference in characterization between the two. And also when you are in these big core numbers, like when you're one of the swans, paying attention to how the head is choreographed can help you, like it gives you information on the personality or the motivation that the choreographer is hoping that you show. Kingdom of the Shades is a really interesting example of this. I have issues with La Bayadère in general, mostly because there are just a lot of racist overtones in the ballet. I also have a problem with the Kingdom of the Shades just because it bothers me that he can go like get high and have a dream and be like, oh, it's forgiven. It's not like she died, but she forgave me. I got a problem with that. But I was reading, I wish I could remember which book it was in. I was reading a critic's review of La Bayadère, and they mentioned how the symmetry and the evenness and just the never-ending zigzag of dancers gave this illusion of eternity. If you think about the corps de ballet's head in Bayadère, it's not tilty. It's more turning or straight down. There are a few tilts in it, but in general, it is more straight to a, to a direction. And I think that that is a really interesting potential commentary on the choreographer's ideas about clarity in heaven. I don't know. I've gone off a deep end here. This is why I am the geeky ballerina. Nobody else is gonna spend their Tuesday afternoon thinking about that. But that's an example of how you can start thinking about what is the choreographed head placement and what does that tell me about the character I'm playing, about the scene that I'm in, about the arc of the main character. It's a really subtle element of acting in ballet, but it has a lot of potential. Also, has anybody else gone off a deep end and now they're overanalyzing head placement in a ballet? I would love to know. I would love to know which deep end you fell off of. Leave me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, I'll just be over here geeking out about ballet by myself, which is okay too. If you would like a version of my ideas where I draft them so I don't go off the deep end, you can sign up for my monthly newsletter. I also have a blog and I have teaching resources. You can find all of that on my website, geekyballerina.com. I hope you have a really great class.